director, the actor, also in his capacity of a producer. Yes.
Hi, everyone.
Still sinking in.
For me too.
Look at the scale, the texture, the brilliance of it. I'll come to all of that, the technicalities, the performance, the emotion behind it. But first, the stock question. Why Veer Savarkar?
Why not Veer Savarkar? In the 80s, there was a movie made on Gandhiji. Subsequently, there have been movies made on Sardar Patel, two of them. And I myself have done Rang Rasya. I played on Raja Ravi Verma. I did Charles Sobraj, Sarabjit. So why not Savarkar? I think that's the big question. I think movies are a great medium of reaching out to people, even internationally. America has done that very well, even recently with Oppenheimer. They have, but in our country, we are shooting down our own icons, which is unbelievable. So my question to everybody is, why not a movie on Savarkar?
Brilliantly put. Not just your transformation in terms of physicality, but the emotional landscape of it. You have lived the character. And here's a story that tells us who the man was. Can you please tell us who the man was not?
What he was brave. And what he wasn't was a coward. What is the first word comes to anybody's mind when you talk about Savarkar in today's dispensation? First word. Maafi Veer. He was not a Maafi Veer. There were petitions, bail pleas they were called, and everybody had a right to apply to the court. And if anybody has been to court, they would know how they address the court. And the language is very respectful, though you might not mean it. And there were many, many people who wrote that. If you're sentenced to 50 years of life in Kalapani, in a 7x11 cell, you would not just rest there and think of it as a resort for the next 50 years of your life. You will use everything, Sam, Dam, Danda, Bhed, to get out of there. He felt that he had to contribute a lot to India's freedom struggle, culturally, socially, and he wanted to get out. दुश्मन को किए हुए वादे निभाए नहीं जाते.
Crisp and sharp, blunt and sharp at the same time. Please tell me why the man, the Veer that he was, his philosophy, his ideology, why he continues to be relevant even in today's day and time.
Well, he's very relevant today because he looked at India as a civilization. He looked at India as a cultural unit, as Akhand Bharat, as he used to say. And India's position in the world today has grown not only because of diplomacy, but because we are armed to the teeth. It's only being armed that there can be peace. Otherwise, people will keep bullying you. And I think the India as a country today is armed and it's respected in the world, and there is peace because we are armed. And that was Mr. Savarkar's philosophy, and his philosophy on Hindutva was all encompassing कि देश धर्म से ऊपर होता है और सिंधु नदी से सिंधु सागर तक जो भी यहाँ रहते हैं वो इसको जो भी इसको अपने पूर्वजों की ज़मीन मतलब अपने पितृभू पूर्वजों की ज़मीन मातृभूमि यहाँ की संस्कृति त्योहार खान पान को अपना मानते हैं वो हिंदू हैं चाहे वो किसी भी धर्म जात या समाज के क्यों ना हो. So I think his idea of uniting India as a society, as a country, was the most unifying. And I think that's what we are following today. We are trying to unify the country where we put country before religion.
This man has internalized the character to another level, to another degree. And with that, I call on the stage the producers of the film. Anand Pandit sir, please join us. Sandeep Singh sir, please come along. Also, Yogesh sir, please join us. Yogesh Ahar. तीनों से पूछना चाहूंगा, ये जो स्केल है, ये जो माउंटिंग है, इसका जो टेक्सचर है, हर एक फ्रेम में एक रिचनेस है सिनेमैटिकली स्पीकिंग. तो एक स्तर जो होता है उसको आगे बढ़ाने के लिए, बिकॉज आवर अनसंग हीरोज ये डिजर्व करते हैं ऐसा स्केल, ऐसा टेक्सचर, ऐसा स्टोरी टेलिंग. एज अ प्रोड्यूसर आपका क्या कहना है?
I think Savarkar needs that, and today's film also needs that. You have to have that experience of that era, and I think Randeep has done brilliant job.
आपके सवाल का जवाब मैं देने से पहले कुछ कहना चाहूँगा कि सबसे पहले तो रणदीप, थैंक यू सो मच.
Thank you.
नहीं, थैंक यू फॉर डायरेक्टिंग दिस फिल्म. I remember I was just going through my message and I just saw कि 15th August 2021 was the first time I messaged Randeep Hooda and Panchali कि we would like to have Randeep Hooda as Savarkar. And I remember Panchali said, yes, of course. Do you have the script? बोला नहीं है. And I came to Randeep and I said, script almost ready हो गया है. And he said, ठीक है, फिर तो बहुत अच्छा है. जब script ready हो जाए तो मुझे बता दीजिएगा आप लोग. और फिर धीरे धीरे रणदीप पूछता गया, स्क्रिप्ट कब आएगा, स्क्रिप्ट कब आएगा, स्क्रिप्ट कब आएगा. और एक दिन मैंने बोला, यार रणदीप, because he started from 16th August, he started sending all the informations about Savarkar ji to us. And then we decided, why don't you write this film? So he said, yes, I can, but I need some people, and that's how Utkarsh came on board. But firstly, I want to thank on this film. When I gave the concept of making this film, everybody told me not to make this film because it will never be made. और फिर but obvious एक इंसान जो हमेशा मेरे साथ खड़े रहे वो है आनंद साहब, आनंद पंडित जी, जिनके पास मैं गया और मैं बोला, सर एक फिल्म बना रहा हूँ सावरकर और मैं चाहता हूँ कि आप उस फिल्म पे सपोर्ट कर दें. तो ये बोले ठीक है, कौन कर रहा है? उस समय तक रणदीप ने मुझे हाँ नहीं बोला था. तो बोला, सर रणदीप हुडा कर रहा है. Or Anand sir, thank you so much. And secondly, this kind of film, none of the studio comes forward and takes it. So Z, thank you so much for really taking this kind of subject from us, because this is what gives us the strength to make better cinema for Bharat. So उसके लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद शारिक का, and especially Neeraj, and who's I think has one of the best. इतनी फिल्में करने के बाद मुझे लगता है ये फिल्म का मार्केटिंग और PR प्लान, नीरज, I think you and your team has done a brilliant job. Just looking at the plan, I can say कि marketing is going to be super hit, and so that will help also our film. But thank you, Randeep, once again. I think you have gone through a lot.
Thank you, Sandeep. Thank you, Yogesh.
योगेश सर, आपसे पूछना चाहूंगा, मतलब आपकी जो जर्नी रही है, मिडवे आपने यहाँ पर शामिल हुए, ये थोड़ा सा अजीब है सुनने में, लेकिन इसके पीछे की कहानी क्या है, अंदाज क्या है, स्टोरी क्या है, आपसे जानना चाहेंगे.
पहले जो प्रोजेक्ट के बारे में रणदीप भाई से डिस्कस हुआ, तो मेरा जो फर्स्ट इंटेंशन था, आई बिलोंग टू अ फ्रीडम फाइटर फैमिली. माय ग्रेट ग्रैंडफादर वाज ए फ्रीडम फाइटर. और ये मेरे लिए एक इमोशनल मोमेंट था कि मेरा मूवी में एज ए डेब्यू प्रोड्यूसर और इस फ्रीडम फाइटर की कहानी के साथ मैं जुड़ रहा हूँ. तो ये एक मेरा ड्रीम डेब्यू है एज ए प्रोड्यूसर. और ये जो स्वतंत्रता सेनानी की कहानी है वो इंस्पिरेशन बनेगी आगे आने वाले यूथ के लिए. हर किसी के पास वो कहानी जानी चाहिए. पहले काफ़ी कहानियाँ गई हैं, भगत सिंह की गई है, चंद्रशेखर आज़ाद की गई है, तो सावरकर जी की कहानी हमारे पेंडिंग थी, जो आज जिस ट्रेलर पे हम बैठे हुए हैं वो कहानी आज प्रेजेंट हो रही है. तो इसमें संदीप जी, आनंद जी, रणदीप भाई, सबका कंट्रीब्यूशन है, सबका थैंक यू वेरी मच. और सेकंड मैं रणदीप भाई का थैंक यू करना चाह रहा हूँ कि जब हम फर्स्ट टाइम मिले वो एक कनेक्ट क्रिएट हो गया था और पिछले 1.5 ईयर से मैं इसमें प्रोजेक्ट में साथ हूँ तो मैंने जो इनका हार्ड वर्क डेडिकेशन पैशन क्राफ्ट के लिए देखा है मतलब वो अनबिलीवेबल है तो उसको कोई मैच नहीं कर सकता और मेरे को लगता है कि इससे बेटर किरदार रणदीप हुड्डा से बेटर किरदार सावरकर का किरदार कोई प्ले नहीं कर सकता थैंक यू रणदीप भाई थैंक यू संदीप जी
Agree.
आनंद जी
Completely agree with you.
जब हम फ्रेम देखते हैं, जब इनकी आंखें देखते हैं, and I was having this conversation with him, it's like absolute vairagya in his eyes, absolute detachment, and at the same time, this tremendous patriotism for the country, beautifully reflected. What is your take on this, Anand sir? I mean, you could not have found a better actor. He did a complete justice to this fiery role. The role completely deserved him.
I would say he is beyond even method actor. तो वो since Savarkar is the film right now, वो सावरकर जी को जी रहा है, खा रहा है, पी रहा है. तो हमारे साथ में झगड़ा करता है तो भी सावरकर के जैसे ही एग्रेशन उसके साथ में होता है. It's too good, too good.
संदीप सर, आपने कहा कि बोल्ड मूव है, फिल्म भी इतनी बोल्ड इन टर्म्स ऑफ द कैरेक्टर, लेकिन प्रोड्यूसर्स को भी उतना ही बोल्ड होना पड़ता है ऐसे किरदारों को बड़े पर्दे पर लाने के लिए. कैन यू गिव मोर सबटेक्स्ट टू दैट स्टोरी?
नहीं, मुझे जितने लोगों ने मना किया इस फिल्म के लिए उतना मुझे हाँ अंदर ही अंदर मेरे आत्मा से निकलती गई कि मैं ये फिल्म, और मैं एक्चुअली 2018 से कोशिश कर रहा था, बट मुझे ये पता था कि कोई भी स्टूडियो या कोई भी फंडर या कोई भी इंसान इस फिल्म को सपोर्ट नहीं करेगा और एक्टर्स बहुत मुश्किल हैं. और क्योंकि सरबजीत में रणदीप के साथ मेरा इतना अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस रहा है एंड दैट इज़ आई विल से कि मेरे 15 फिल्मों में से सरबजीत इज़ माय बेस्ट फिल्म. एंड तो मैं मतलब मेरी बस एक ही चीज़ थी कि अगर रणदीप ना बोल देता इस फिल्म को तो शायद ये फिल्म नहीं बन पाती, ये श्योर था. क्योंकि और बाकी के एक्टर्स अपना मार्केटिंग परसेप्शन और अपनी इमेज जो है कि नहीं वो भी नहीं पता मुझे, वो सब ढूंढने लगते हैं और फिल्म और कैरेक्टर्स नहीं. तो रणदीप अगर मना करता तो ये फिल्म बनती नहीं शायद.
One last question before I throw the floor open to the media for the media. As a writer, as a director, of course, as an actor, as a performer, and now this special feather in your hat, that of a producer. इतने सारे roles निभाते हुए ये कैसे हुआ?
My least favorite was being the producer. I think somewhere I read many books about him in Hindi, English, and even got my Marathi friends to, kind of give me proper translations of their films. I had a great co-writer in Utkarsh, and when we wrote Utkarsh Nethani, and when we wrote it kind of visually in our discussions over many nights of fighting. And then once that idea started forming in my head, I was very fortunate to have a great team. The movie is looking great because of Arvind Krishna, who was my cinematographer, and Nilesh Wagh, who's my production designer, Sachin Lovelekar, who did the costumes, and even my CG VFX team at White Apple. They've been great, and sound of Ganesh. So I had every time I came across something, like my first day as a director, or first day as a writer, or first day on the edit, or anything, I used to always say, okay, I've never done this before. Please tell me, how is it to be done? So once I learned that very quickly, then I'll be telling them how to do it very soon.
And the background.
And the background, yeah. And background done by Matthias Duplessis and Sandesh Chandalia. I wanted a very modern sound to the movie. I always wanted this movie to go across to young people who maximum number of percentage of young in India, the young people, and I wanted the real Savarkarji to come across to them. And that's why I tried to make a movie which was modern, young, relatable, and all-encompassing story on his life. It was a very difficult 2 years for me. I often say that I was in Kalapani for 2 years, but I'm really happy that Swantantrya Veer Savarkar is finally releasing from the jails of perception, and the real story will get across to people.
It's always a nice sight to see the actor, the director, and the producers sitting right alongside with a big, broad smile on their faces. Thank you so much. With that, I throw the floor open for the media people to ask their queries and questions.